It's my mom and dad, my brother and his wife and kids. We have some
Mm-hmm.
friends, and then us. And then there's like
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 other, or no, 2 or 3 other groups within our big
Mm-hmm.
camp. And we all had our own separate Thanksgivings. And so, like, Cheryl made stuffing. My mom did the turkey.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt or my sister-in-law did potatoes and peas, or mashed potatoes and peas. So we just kind of spread it out. And that
That's
way it's
cool.
easy for cleanup.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We just put the tables out. So we've always done Thanksgiving literally watching the
That's
sun go
cool.
down at the dunes.
That's awesome.
And then the people next to us are other friends, but we just didn't plan to eat with them. They did
Mm-hmm.
theirs, and the people that were across the way. So we had a
Mm-hmm.
big circle. And in some areas we had 2, 3 RVs deep. So
Mm-hmm.
like there was 2 RVs behind mine, 2
Oh,
trailers
wow.
behind my
Holy
trailer.
cow.
And so in some areas we were stacked.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, it was fun.
Cool. That's
Not your
awesome.
normal Thanksgiving. I haven't had a Thanksgiving at home in a long time. Usually we're gone, which I'm cool
That's
with.
fun. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Oh man, I got to get back into the groove of life. I've been
I know.
traveling
It feels like it's been a long, I mean, it was a long
since
week.
Big Bear. Since
Mm-hmm.
it's been Big Bear, and then I was in Arizona, and then somewhere else, and then out to the oh, it was Halloween. We were out in the desert. It's just been one thing after another.
Well, and I leave Friday morning at like 5 a.m.
That's right. You're gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and then I
Okay.
guess drive home Sunday.
Oh,
I
you're
think.
driving home.
Yeah, I think Keith's bringing me back.
Oh, cool. Oh man, but it is good to be home and sleep in my own bed.
Yes, for sure.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Delaney's car's parked in the garage because it's 20 degrees out. So when she goes to leave for school, I'll mute myself because it's going to be loud when she opens the garage door and starts her car.
Okay.
Good morning, Keith. Good morning, Tom.
I don't see any of what you're seeing right now.
Tom from Buff Bright's here. And
You don't see the chat?
Andrew
No,
Van Order. Good
mine's
morning,
just the big
Andrew. I'll
screen
see
right
you
now.
this weekend. Super excited. And Keith Duplessis is joining us. Rennie.
There I go. Cool.
Good morning. Well, it is bright
Now I can see it.
and cold this morning. Is it cold where you are? Oh, can you hear me?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, it's not cold at all.
Yeah.
I tried to cool the house down this morning. It's going to be warm here
Oh
today.
man, it's like 23 degrees here. It's freezing. It's freezing.
No, it's like short. It's going to be shorts and a short sleeve shirt today.
Wow. Holy cow.
But in my office, it was a little chilly this morning, so I put on my double black hoodie.
Nice. Nice. Josh Pierce is here.
58
Andrew says
degrees.
it's 58 degrees. That is a high. Isn't he in Oregon? It's really warm. That is warm. Hopefully it stays warm for this weekend. So believe it or not, Vegas was pretty cold. Like we kind of froze the whole time we were there. I mean, it was like 54, but for whatever reason, 54 in Vegas is freezing. Freezing. It was so cold. So cold.
It's because it's that dry desert air.
Yeah. Yeah, and windy. All right. So good morning, everybody. We are back from Thanksgiving weekend. It's always so fun to wake up bright and early after a holiday and try to get back in the swing of things. So I hope everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving. We did. It was great. Some of you may know I went to Vegas, got home late Saturday night, so still catching up and back at it today in the shop. So super excited to be having Bead Maker and Coffee this morning. It feels like it's been a long 2 weeks this time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels
I feel
like
like
a
it's
month's
been a
gone
minute.
by.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a minute. So, so why don't we start off then, right, with what has been happening the last 2 weeks with PNS, and then we'll go into what we've been working on. So, what's been happening, Kyle, and what do we have coming up?
Well, we had a lot of sales, Black Friday sales, and I
Mhm.
believe there's some Cyber Monday sales going on
Yeah.
with some of our distributors
Yep.
all over the country. And it's been fun resharing their social media content to
Yeah.
see all the creative deals that our distributors have been doing, not just
Mhm.
percentages off, but there's
Yep.
been some shirts and some hoodies and some
Yeah.
extra bottles of product. And
Yep.
that was kind of fun to be a part of doing that
Yeah.
with Keith and you.
Yeah, I know. The two that come to mind, just because I've just recently got emails this morning that are coming to mind, is
Yeah.
I know Auto Geeks. They've been having some really great sales, and I know today they have their Cyber Monday sale, and I believe it's 25% off everything at Auto Geek. And then I know the Rag Company here in Boise is doing 20% off most everything. I don't know what's excluded. I didn't read through the whole email, but it said most everything. And then they have some doorbuster sales that are super crazy. So those are two that I know I got emails on this morning for Cyber Monday, which is awesome. So make sure you're following all of the detail supply companies. Everybody's having really great sales right now. I know for me, this is the time of year that I stock up on all of the stuff that I need, especially like the gear, right? Like this is the time of year that I'm buying like the step stools and the ladders and the tools and all that kind of stuff, because you can get really good deals on them. So I hope everybody has found some great deals out there and is having fun with that. I know I did.
And a lot of our local distributors had deals too,
Yeah.
all over the country, which was really cool. So go out and support your local shop
Yep.
and help them move their product and stock up for the coming year on a good at a
Yep.
good price. I'm actually got my phone open. I've been looking at electric lifts, not scissor lifts, but like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
scaffolding. That
Yeah.
I've been looking at buying a scissor lift, and maybe getting a scaffolding is more
Mm-hmm.
more up my alley. So I've been looking at these different lifts, and there's deals on them right now.
Yeah.
So plan on spending some money today on Cyber Monday
Yeah.
on
Yeah. I
products
really
and
want one of
equipment.
those. I want one of those scissor lifts, but I'm just not ready to bite the bullet yet. I'm still going to pretend like I'm young and my back doesn't need it.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
So
tired of climbing
then
ladders.
I know. So next thing is PNS at Hayward. So what's going on there? I think the biggest thing is just still navigating the silicone issue. So why don't we talk about that for a few minutes? I think that a lot of people are just now starting to realize there's a problem. I saw a lot of posts over this last week of, various manufacturers being out of certain dressings and things. And we are too. So why don't we expand on that for a little bit and talk about how we as PNS and Team PNS are managing that?
Yeah, so this has come up a few times over the last couple months, and people are starting to realize it. I think people were in denial for a while that
Yeah.
the dynamic would appear, and a few
Right.
other
Yeah.
dressings, and we hear from other companies too. They're also having the same issues.
Yeah.
From what I understand, one or two of the large silicone manufacturers in the country, one of them shut down, and that's also caused a problem in the supply chain, among other things. So right now, and I saw a conversation on social media the other day. What was your favorite interior dressing from PNS came up, and a lot of people were talking about Shape Up, which is great for interiors. Natural Finish is still a favorite of mine for interiors, and I've stocked up on that, so hopefully it gets me through the year. And I know that will still be coming out a limited amount. And Odyssey. Odyssey is going to be great for that too, but it's more of my exterior trim and tire. I don't know if I love that style of dressing for interiors as much, but it's an option.
Yeah.
And so those are options among No one really talked about the Wipe and Shine, which I think
Yep.
is a great alternative.
Yep.
We've started using Wipe and Shine more,
Hmm.
mainly because we've been doing a lot of coatings, and I like
Hmm.
putting it on so we're not spraying anything.
Right.
And also because I have a 5 gallon of dynamic dressing and I'm hoarding it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I'm gonna use it for very specific things.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a gallon and a half left of dynamic and I'm hoarding it as well, but I'm going to try to find some dynamic, hoping I can find a 5 somewhere here. Um, I so my because again I do have dynamic, but I'm trying to not use it, and so yeah, I have completely switched to just natural finish on the interiors. I'll bump it up to shape up if I need a little bit more bite to the moisturizing, like maybe on an old, if the plastics are super dry or something like that, I'll definitely jump up to shape up, and then um, I really love Odyssey on the tires and Wipe and Shine. Um, so my daughter is going to open the garage door real quick, so I'm going to mute myself. So Kyle, why don't we talk about dinner with detailers real quick?
So, Dinner with Detailers is a program or an event that Rennie and Chris put together. They've already done one, and they're going to do another one coming up. I believe it's Monday, December 20th, at Uber Detail in Southern California here in Corona. And it's just this one's more of an event to give back and be around the Uber Detail or Uber Detail customers. I believe Chris is working on a flyer for it, so we'll have that out shortly. And we're dinner. I believe Rennie and Chris are going to be able to talk. It's, originally, it was more about business. I think this will be about business and maybe more family oriented, and where you just have a good time, eat dinner, and maybe just chat. Detailing and life and business is basically the premise behind it. It's not so much it's not a class on how to detail anything. It's more how to build your business and your lifestyle. And so Dinner with
Yeah.
Detailers is kind of that concept.
Yep. Cool. Cool. And then
So
last thing we need to talk about is this upcoming weekend in Portland, Oregon. Keith Duplessis and I have a ceramic coating class, so an inspiration ceramic coating class at Northwest Auto Accessories. That is near the airport, and that is from 8 to 1 on Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon. Oh, and Rennie and Bob will be there as special guests, which is super exciting. So we are really looking forward to that. So everybody that is taking that class is in store for a treat. And then I don't know, I'm not sure if there's still availability. So on the flyer there, you can see the phone number that you can call and see if there's space left in that class. I'm not sure, but you can definitely check that out. And otherwise, if you miss us at Northwest Auto Accessories, we, the four of us, will be doing the first shop crawl for the IDA, which will be happening Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And we'll be stopping at a couple spots throughout Oregon. So there they are listed on the flyer there. If you can't see that, just go check. This flyer is all over social media. You can also DM us if you need it. We're making 4 stops, and then the final stop will be at Garvin Auto Salon, which is in McMinnville, Oregon. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be so fun. So we will all be traveling through Oregon to do the first shop crawl, which I'm really looking forward to. It sounds so fun. So make sure,
perfect.
sorry,
Yeah,
my
this is going
daughter's
to be
leaving.
awesome. That's all good.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Her car's kind of quiet, but it's freezing here. Like I said, it's like 23 degrees. So I had to park her car in the garage because she has to leave so early, and it makes me feel bad. So anyway, so come check that out if you're in the Pacific Northwest area. We are really looking forward to that. Oh wow, Keith Duplessis says we have 17 signed up and we have room for 3
Yeah.
more. So if you're interested in that, get on that ASAP, and we will see you on Saturday. All right, so then let's talk about. Oh, go ahead.
Training schedule for 2022 should be coming out
Yes.
sometime this month, I hope, for Prentice at Hayward. Adam says he has a limo now, and he's giving limo rides. And that thing is pretty fabulous, is what I'll say. Hopefully it's clean. I think it's pretty cool, Adam. I think you need bigger rims on it, though.
Christian Parker.
Christian Parker, good morning. This is
the gym
a good group.
All right, we've got lots of people joining us. This is great. So real quick, let's talk about our details and some of our favorite products over the last couple weeks. I know you go ahead and tell your story about where you were for the last week.
So every Thanksgiving I get together with some my family, my brother and his wife and my parents. Sometimes my other brother is able to join us with his wife, but we always go out to the desert and we meet friends from all over California and Utah and even some from Idaho come down. We go up to the desert near Nevada and have Thanksgiving dinner out at the sand dunes. So I didn't detail really a lot, but I did detail my own Polaris razor because it was filthy because I've just been using it a ton since the weather cooled down. It had some mud on it. It was covered in sand. So I got to use Epic waterless wash. I wanted to clean up the doors and the hood and the fender edges. I didn't really go to town on anything else because it was just going to get thrashed. But I wanted my doors to look good because they are reflective vinyl, and it worked out really good. I found myself taking and soaking the little globs of mud and spraying it down with Epic, letting it soak up, and then the mud just came right off. So I used a good quality microfiber towel, cleaned off the majority of the mud, redid the door again, and it worked out great. It was nice to clean up my razor. I was really happy with the results. I was literally doing it out in the middle of the dirt and the sand. So I knew that dust was going to recollect, but I did some test panels, some areas where I tested a little Dream Maker on it. I wanted to see if dust would stick to it or not. And I was really surprised at how nice it looked after riding for a few days. And it actually helped wipe off the dust pretty easy too. So Epic worked great for me. I guess I also cleaned my windows in the trailer using TrueView. So I had that with me. I kind of brought my own little kit of Epic, TrueView, Dream Maker, and Express Interior, but I didn't really end up using Express. We were having too much fun. It was a go kind of trip. We didn't really sit around a lot because the sun goes down at 5. So we have from about 7, 8 a.m. till 5 to ride on the sand dunes as much as possible. And,
that's awesome.
And yeah, just had a good time with our friends and family.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I did not work last week, which was great. But the week before I had several really dirty vehicles. I think I had 3 that, were kind of up in this area. I live kind of in the foothills. So everybody up here is a bike rider, hiker, everyone owns a dog, lots of farms out here. So for whatever reason, last week I had 3 really dirty cars. And so my favorite product of that week was paint gloss. And if you guys have not seen the paint gloss tip on the Rag Company YouTube, you're gonna have to go check it out. There was a recent video showing me showing how to use paint gloss as a vacuum aid. And this is why this was my favorite product, is I literally cannot vacuum without it. And it still shocks me how much time I save vacuuming. And so on these particular cars, 2 of them were like farmers. And so they've got hay, dirt, rocks, sand, dog hair, alpaca hair. I don't know what else. I had lots of Christmas tree glitter last week for whatever reason. And so the paint gloss was just coming in clutch for me. So if you guys haven't seen that video, what paint gloss does is it breaks the static barrier. And so when you're dealing with things like dog hair and sand, it keeps them from popping up. And so it just makes the vacuuming process a lot faster. So lots of paint gloss, lots of hair removers. I know Tom's here this morning, lots of For Real tool. If you guys don't have that, you're gonna have to check that out. I would die without that. The pet hair stone, I mean, I used them all of them. So definitely paint gloss. Awesome. I cannot vacuum without it. So that was kind of my hero of the week for my products last week. So why don't we dive into some questions? It looks like everybody's waking up, everybody's had their coffee. One thing I want to point out that's kind of funny is, Kyle, did you see yesterday somebody asked when you were going to get to hold the coffee cup? Did you see that? I thought that was so funny. I said
awesome.
Never. Yeah, I said
I
never.
don't drink
That's
coffee,
my job.
So I got my PNS cup, and I got full of water, but I don't drink coffee.
It just made me think about it again, because I'm like, no, the coffee's, that's my deal.
That's kind of Sydney's thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Sydney has her own coffee at her local coffee shop. Like, you go in
saw
and
that.
you
It was
ask
literally
for the
like,
Sydney.
I was like, well, that's never going to happen. I would never let Kyle hold the coffee cup.
I do have my own drink, but it's not coffee. It's like more of a milkshake from Starbucks.
Yeah. Yep.
The vanilla frap.
Yep. Cool. All right. So first question from Daniel. With this cold time of the year taking place, if I do maintenance cleaning indoors, what is the humidity recommended before applying Bead Maker, and how long should we wait before putting it back into the cold? So it's very cold where I am. Very cold, 20 degrees right now. So I detail solely inside. I even wash the vehicles inside. Here in Idaho, I don't have a humidity issue. So the only issue that I would have is if I left things wet on the car and then moved them outside, which I don't typically do. So for Bead Maker, how long should we wait before putting it back in the cold? I think as long as you have a good hour or two, I think you're going to be fine. The only thing I've ever seen from Bead Maker, this is the one time that, and it's not even an issue because it totally goes away, but when I do a window coating with View, and then I put Bead Maker on, and then I pull it out, because I normally put the Bead Maker on right before the customer leaves on the windshield on View. I always wait as long as I can, and then I put the View on. So it will kind of not fog over, but almost kind of the humidity sticks to it. And it'll be wet and kind of foggy, but you can wipe it off, and then a few minutes later it comes right back. What I've learned is to just not wipe it off. It's fine. As soon as the car dries, it's totally fine. It's not an issue. It doesn't streak or anything like that. So now I just totally leave it alone. So my assumption would be is the paint's going to be the same way. If you get a little bit of condensation buildup, just leave it. It's fine. The Bead Maker's still going to cure, but I do think if you have the ability to, just like, no matter what temperature you're releasing the car to, you should wait an hour or two before releasing the car out into any element, just to allow the Bead Maker time to cure. So that would be my suggestion, is just the normal time. But like I say, if you get a little bit of condensation, it's totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, I think give it an hour or two. That way the Bead Maker can begin to cure. But I've done Bead Maker on vehicles in the mountains in this time of year, November, December. And it's been fine. I just don't know how long it was going to last. So give it a nice time in the garage to dry and cure. But that's a great question.
Yeah, and good luck in the cold. It's a struggle, but honestly, I have more problems in the heat than I do the cold. So with products and stuff, I have more problems in the heat than the cold. Really, it's just I don't like being cold. All right, Mike C. I was wondering if you guys have a tar soap adhesive remover type product. So we do. It's kind of two different ones. I mean, you can use, like, I have a bunch. So my favorite sap remover, because I like to be a little bit more conservative, is we have a tree sap remover, which is absolutely awesome. And sometimes it even works on, soft tar and things like that. But then we have Remove All, which I love for tar and adhesive remover. It's great.
Yeah, same here. Depends on what you're using it on. The tar and sap remover is a little bit safer. Remove All is a little bit stronger. There you go. Perfect.
Yep. Yeah.
And so we have remove all is available in a gallon. Also, so if you want larger quantities, you can also get that.
Yep.
I like to use microfiber when I remove tar or sap. And as just a caution, I always make my guys use a white or a light gray microfiber. I don't use colored microfibers when I'm cleaning sap or tar.
Yeah.
I had that experience one time with a yellow towel, and it kind of transferred into some single stage paint, and it wasn't good. So I stick with towels without dye for that stuff.
It'll do that on clear coated paint too.
Yep. If you use something like acetone, which is really strong for it, you will actually transfer the dye into the clear coat.
Yep.
So just be careful with those things, but that's just a thing I've noticed over many years of detailing, and a big mess up. I was able to wet sand and buff it out. I got it out of the paint, but it scared me. So make sure you use, I guess you could use a very fine terry or cotton towel too, as long as there's no dye, but just know you're going to scratch if it's a terry.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Michael Hill. Good morning, Michael. Are any of the dressing products silane based? Did I say that right? Formulation or silicone only?
So we do have some a polymer dressing that we've had for a long time. It's called High Gloss. I don't know about the content of it, but it does say polymer on it, silicone free. And so that may be an option, Michael.
So Dave just popped into the chat, which is so great.
Oh, perfect.
Good morning, Dave. He said there are no silane-based dressings in the line, but there are reactive silicones in most of our dressings. So thank you for that. That's awesome.
Always great to have the chemist on board.
Yep.
Thanks,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes. All right. And Bill is here from Huntington Beach. Hi, Bill. Good morning, Kyle and Sydney and Kyle listening from Huntington Beach. Love the show. It's the best part of my Monday. That's awesome. It's the best part of my
Bill,
Monday
it's
too.
great to hear from you again.
Yes, love it.
That guy was a lot of fun when we saw him at Hot Wax.
Yep.
And he has a nice car.
Yep. He does. He had a question. Let me try to think of what his question was a couple weeks ago, because it was a good learning experience. Bill, tell me again what it was. Something happened. I believe it was to your wife's car, to the hood, and it was a great solution. So remind me what that was in the chat, and we can talk about it, because it was a great question that came in on our DMs. All right. So Andrew, I have a white oxidized workhorse, aka step van, in the shop. What is your best method for oxidation removal? Have to get it off to get it wrapped, so it's not looking to finish out just removal. So Kyle, you're the
cool.
You're the pro with
I've done a few of these vans before, or Sprinter vans that have single stage paint, like the Mercedes. You got to compound it, and you're probably going to need to do it multiple times. If you're not looking to make it perfect because you're going to wrap it, that should be just fine. You just got to get that off. You could also make sure you decontaminate it really well in the wash. Use a clay mitt and go to town on it. That'll get rid of a lot of that white, chalky, milky stuff. You use a clay mitt. That's what we do. We clay the heck out of those vans because we're going to polish them anyways. Even if I mar it up, that's okay because I'm going to polish it. And you just want to get as much oxidation off as possible. And I'd use like a blueberry pad. I like blueberry. You can go with the maroon pad if you're really trying to rip it off.
Cool. And do you just use the normal polish?
Yeah, and I could use you could use deep finish or ego. Ego to cut it off. You have to compound them to get that. You got to get a fresh layer. But I've never wrapped over them, so I've always taken them all the way to, polishing them out with like ultra coat polish or deep finish. after the cut. So it depends on how much time you want to put into it.
Cool. All right. So then we have a lot of people here this morning. That's great. We have Robin here, Rick Walling. Rick, I'll see you this weekend. Super excited. Okay. Efren says, hello. If you don't want to use the 3 products for carpet and upholstery, what one product would you recommend? Oh man, that's hard. So I really like all 3 and I generally use all 3, but I will say there's been times like if I just have a quick stain and I'm just treating one stain, I'm usually grabbing Carpet Bomber because that kind of gets out, whatever I might need. So if there's one that I ever use by itself, it's probably Carpet Bomber.
Yeah, I've done for light cleaning and light stains, Carpet Bomber would be sufficient. It's not going to get this, bad stains out. That's why you need Terminator for, those other types of stains. But you got to make sure that when you're done, you neutralize the Carpet Bomber. So if you're going to Carpet Bomber, you're probably going to need to either steam it to lift it out of the fibers, or you're going to have to extract, with just water, even if it's just a light extraction, because you don't want to leave stuff just sitting in the carpet like that. Or you got to vacuum it really, really well to remove the Carpet Bomber from the fibers of the carpet. Otherwise, it's just going to attract dust over time. Mm-hmm. William Lara, of course.
Oh, hashtag we love Sydney only. That's so awesome.
That's okay.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know,
that hashtag. We like that.
Yeah. I begged him to say that I was his favorite. So Jean has a great question. So Jean, first, there was a great video that came out Friday, I believe, on this. Maybe it was Saturday, talking about using Sol. So again, the Rag Company YouTube channel, we shared it on our page as well. But there was, it was kind of funny. I was at the Rag Company and we weren't even supposed to be filming, and this GTO came in and we were just supposed to be washing it, and it ended up needing a lot more than washing. So we ended up putting Sol on it. And so your question is, in relation to ceramic coating, what would you recommend in terms of preparation for application of Sol to a vehicle previously coated with inspiration? So you could treat this the same way that we did in that video. So because Sol's a 1-year coating, if the inspiration is still there and it doesn't need polished, you should be able to get away with just washing really well, decontaminating, and using a clay mitt, and then you should be able to go into the Sol if you don't want to polish. I probably would, but if you don't want to, as long as there's no scratches or anything like that, you should be able to just coat over it. So that video might give you some tips on that if you want to check that out. And otherwise, if it were me, I'm probably going to polish with at least, NV just to abrade the surface. But, that's kind of, since Sol is a 1-year coating, it's, it's kind of one of those things where if you don't like the results, you could always go back and coat it or polish it and coat it again. And Sol is just so easy that, you just kind of make that call on what the condition of the inspiration is, how long it's been on there. If it's been on there for more than 6 months to a year, I'd probably for sure polish though.
Yeah, you could do kind of a coating reset and use wash it, clay it, and lightly polish it with like ultra coat polish. Mm-hmm. And then go ahead and coat with Sol, kind of reset the coating, especially if inspiration had some, some spots, from the bee poop or pollen that can leave little rings or light water spots. It's a good way to cleanse the top layer of the coating. Use a finishing pad like a white or a yellow, and just lightly buzz over it and watch how it cleans the coating. Mm-hmm. But at a minimum, wash it, clay it, maybe even paint prep it, and go ahead and coat at the minimum. Yeah.
For sure. And since you brought up ultra coat polish, Kyle, I actually did that this weekend. My brother's Tesla had been parked in the sprinkler, and it has had a coating on it for almost 3 years now. The coating was still fine, but he parked in sprinklers, lives in Vegas. It was 100 and something degrees, so they baked in. So I sent him to Justin Day at Detailers of Las Vegas, and he got the water spots off and had to use a pretty heavy polish. So he suggested we put a new layer of coating back on. When I got there and kind of tested it, the coating was still kind of fine on his hood, but since it had what I'll just call trauma, I went ahead and I actually just polished it with Ultra Coat polish just to kind of rehydrate it, cure it a little bit, clean it up a little bit because it had been a couple weeks since Justin had it. And so I just used Ultra Coat polish, paint prep, and applied, actually put Legend on, but it's just because I had a little bit of a bottle I needed to finish. But so that was Ultra Coat polish is a great ceramic cleanup product. I love that. Love it. Nice,
Perfect.
Easy polish. Very cool. All right, Anthony Aguilar, this is going to be one for you, Kyle. Good morning. I'm doing some museum work on aircraft and automobiles. The tires are caked with old dressing and dust. What would be the best method to clean them? I have brake buster and undressed.
He said it's a museum, so I'd always want to take the minimal approach and be safe. I would try and start with brake buster first. It's probably indoors, so put some towels down around the wheels, and you're going to soak it and scrub them and wipe it off. We aren't going to rinse it and you're outside, and then see how that goes. See if it strips it off, and then you can proceed with there. What I'm concerned about is hurt the cracking of the tires, drying them out anymore. So just go from there. You may have to do it a few times. We tested undressed back when we were coming out with it on a classic Ford truck from 1940s, and it had some really bad cracked tires. And what I found is you're going to use it because it's going to dry it out really fast. So you're going to have to strip that off and clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Brake buster first, and if that's not doing it undressed, just because you want to not harm those tires, then they already are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we this year in Monterey, we got to use brake buster on some vintage tires to clean them up kind of in the same way. And what was nice is we didn't necessarily have to have a bunch of water, and so that VW bus, those tires cleaned up, and they were really caked with old dressing, really dry, really dirty, and brake buster did a great job on them. So I agree with Kyle. Start with brake buster and give that a try, and then hopefully, that should strip off the old dressing enough, and then the cracking, there's not much you can do. Oh, I guess it says caked, not cracking. Okay.
Oh, caked.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Well,
wait, I thought I saw crack too, but it says caked. Yeah.
Well, you saw what
just
we
have
did
a
with undressed at Air Force
brush.
One. It cleaned up the tire dressing off of Air Force One that we've been putting on, or at least Rennie and the team have been putting on for 15 years almost. So that tire dressing was really built up on those tires.
Yeah.
Actually, Keith busted out the flex with a brush on it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And in Monterey, we just used the short bristle, stiff bristle brush, and that did a great job at ripping that old dressing off. So very cool. So Chris Woolman asked, Sydney, do you travel with Legend? Actually, I do, because you never know when you never know when a situation's going to arise. It's like, jumper cables. Doesn't everybody?
She has her makeup bag and her coating bag that travel with her everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. I usually always take TrueView, paint gloss, some sort of coating, an applicator of some sort. You just never know. So Joshua says, I picked up the carpet cleaning trio in gallons. TRC had a 20% off Black Friday sale. That's awesome.
Way cool.
I love the carpet cleaning trio. They're just great. You can't really say it's like peanut butter and jelly because there's 3 of them, but they're awesome. They just,
it's a simple way of getting great results with 3 products. Yeah. I've used other interior cleaning products where I had a ton of options for different stains and things.
Yep.
I don't really use that anymore because this does 98% of every problem I could possibly think of.
Yes. And Keith just popped in, and yes. So in my emergency bag, I have Ultra Coat polish. So yes, Ultra Coat polish is always the answer. So yes, Keith, that did make it into my emergency stash. So I do travel with a bottle of Ultra Coat polish as well.
I feel bad. I need an emergency stash. I just have like Bead Maker and glass cleaner in my truck.
Well, I used to carry like little bottles of polish and whatnot. And now Ultra Coat polish, it's always the answer. Keith taught us that. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
It works every time when I need it.
We have Zach checking in from San Diego, California. Good morning, Zach.
Hey,
Cynthia,
Zach.
how does one submit questions for Sydney and Kyle? Right here. Just ask us. So no, it's definitely not only through Facebook. We see the YouTube questions as well. So ask away. Have we had any other questions come up? I feel like we did have several questions, and I'm just having a hard time thinking about it, which I did think about the Bill one. He tried the trick that we talked about last time for the inspiration for renewing old plastics and stuff that were faded even on the interior, but he used inspiration on side mirrors, and they turned out awesome. So he kind of used that to rehydrate after our tip on the last Bead Maker and Coffee, and he posted online about it. So that was cool. So that just came to mind. But any other questions that we've had come up?
We've had a lot of questions about, it's kind of funny. We get people that ask questions on the social media about where they can get products. And so the answer to that, there's many different answers. There's distributor locator on our website where you can find our distributors on our new website, and I believe we're adding more as we speak, or maybe that's been accomplished recently. We have our online distributors, which will be found there, and then you have pnsdetailingproducts.com. So those are your answers where you can find products. This question comes up every day on our social media, and we do have a link in our on our Instagram where you can click on it and it'll take you to those different websites.
Yep. Another question we got a lot over the last week was on the gear. So actually the sweatshirt that you're wearing, Kyle, we got several questions on where to get the sweatshirt. So if you guys can see his double black sweatshirt, we now have all the gear up on pnsdetailproducts.com. And so you can order the sweatshirts, hats right there. Super cool. So we got that question a lot in the last week, probably because it's getting chilly. But so that is an awesome sweatshirt. It's one of my favorite ones. So it is just a couple distributors have it here and there, but you can definitely find it on pnsdetailproducts.com. Very cool.
They're going to end up selling out of gear soon.
Yeah. Yeah, those hats, those are hard to come by. So if you want a hat, get it, because those might go hard to get for a while. My favorite's the double black hat.
Like I
pretty
wear it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mess it up. I like it a lot. And I'm not really a trucker hat guy, but man, that thing fits well. What's the brand? Richardson?
Richardson. Yep.
And those are really nice hats.
Cool.
Yeah, we had, I know that Auto Geek had a deal, and with it, you got a shirt or it was a hoodie when you bought a kit. Well, some people missed out on it. So that's why we were getting that question a lot. And then people were asking, do you have my size? I'm like, I have no idea. You'll have to go on and try and order it because I can't see that. We're not in Northern California.
Yep. And then we've got Jean says, will the dealer portal be ready to soon order online? So, Jean, if you're talking about our customer portal, it is up and running. That's the only one I know of. Is there maybe Keith can jump in there?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Okay. He's talking about the customer portal.
The portal.
Yeah.
Keith and Bob have been working on it. It takes a little time to set it up. So they've been going through the distributor list. And I believe that we should be finishing it up over the next month or two. Everyone should be on. So be a little bit patient. And if you haven't heard from Keith in a while, maybe send him an email and say, hey, when am I in line? Because it sounds like you're excited, and we have a lot of distributors that are very excited to be able to order through our portal.
Yep. So then
Thanks,
Keith
Jean.
did say In regard to the gear, our gear, we normally have small to 3X. So in case anybody was wondering about that. Bob Phillips is here this morning. Hi, Bob. He says the storefront portal is not yet ready. So Jean, just stay tuned for that. It is coming, but storefronts won't be on until sometime in December. So yes, it is coming. That's awesome. Very good. All right. So Cynthia, what are your favorite tips and tricks for dealing with faded rubber seals around the windows?
Well, you got to clean them really well. You got to get the old dirt and build up off of the rubber. So I do is I like my little Detail Factory detail brush, the tool, crevice brushes, and I'll usually I use EnviroClean for all like emblems and cracked and crevices and like even around the gas cap. And so I would use EnviroClean and that brush, or if it's really stiff, I'll use the red one with the little stiffer bristles and just scrub on those, clean them really well. There you go. That's my little
brush drawer. Yep.
I love it. Your whole remodel made it so easy.
Yes.
So clean them first and get them nice and clean. Then you're going to want to rehydrate them. And if it's rubber, we do have a few options where you could use like Shape Up, or we do have our bumper coat, which is it's going to really work well on those faded plastics and trim. I haven't used it there, but I've used a product similar to that in the past. But I think Shape Up would work really, really well there. It's going to soak it up, but you may have to put a couple applications on there.
Yeah. So I use Shape Up or whatever dressing I use. So what I use as a tip is these little foam applicators. For anybody who saw where I was putting the inspiration on the seatbelt buckles inside, this is the same applicator that I used. And so I get a lot of questions about this. I just get these on Amazon. They're literally called foam applicators. This one's probably, I don't know, a 1/2 inch by 3/4 of an inch. And so these are great. You get like 100 of them for $6 or something like that. And so I use these all the time. They're just one-time use disposable applicators. So again, I would just, soak the tip with the dressing of my choice, and then you just go right along that line. And then that way you're not getting a ton of dressing on the paint or on the window that you're having to clean up later. So these are great for all those tight areas, even on the exterior. I also use these to dust out the vents, by the way, because I love that. That's actually what I bought these for. I just ended up using them for several other things. So definitely great. And I use these a lot too on exterior mirrors. You know how behind the mirror portion inside the plastic housing gets really dry and dirty. I will do the same thing. I'll put the Shape Up on here and run it along the back of the mirror, and that gets that all rehydrated and black and helps it not look so old and dingy. So awesome. I get these on Amazon. Love them. Love them. Love them.
I just went on my phone and put that in my cart.
I love them. They actually come in 2 different sizes. I have the small ones too, but I use this size the most. They do have little tiny ones that sometimes I'll use like to clean radios, or they have one that's a little bit thinner. I don't have any right here, but this works too on, the cars that have the CD player, and it always has that dust inside. This works great to get that dust out of there. So I use these a lot.
I like that. I wondered what you were using when you put the inspiration on the seatbelt buckles.
Yep.
Connectors.
You know what else this is good for? Solution finish on like, the small areas outside. So lettering. If, I'm thinking of some of like those GMC trucks that have, the GMC on the back that needs to be, so you can use these to get solution finish on those, or even around the tailgate where it's that small little piece. So
I would use it on the cowling between the little louvers. That'd be nice. Good tip.
Yeah. Yep.
I usually just have to put a ton of product in there and hope it soaks in.
Yeah. I just don't like to do a lot of cleanup, so I like the precision of these. That's cool. So good.
Hopefully that answers your question, Cynthia.
Yeah.
We don't get as much. I mean, you have a little bit of rubber on the window trim now, but it's not like it was the whole section anymore. Usually that's metal
Yep.
or aluminum or black, so hopefully that helps.
Yep. Oh, that's funny. So Joshua says Terminator and Carpet Bomber are the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and finisher is the glass of milk to wash it down. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way
It's
to
an
put
analogy
it.
right
And then
there. I
Rennie
like
says
that.
BLT sandwich. Now he's hungry. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so Bill, I needed to clean some staining from a garbage truck, and the only thing I had that worked was Adam's Brilliant Glaze. I'm pretty sure it removed the coating. That's right. So some Brilliant Glaze was used on the hood to remove some staining and stuff, and so then the coating seemed like it was not reacting. I felt like it was because the glaze was actually inferior to the coating as far as the water behavior and things like that. The glaze, I don't believe, hurt the coating at all, but I think it was just an inferior top product. And so we just had him remove that
It was
and
hiding the
reapply.
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't hurt it. It just was an inferior product to the actual coating. So we just kind of started over and put a new layer of coating, and it was fine. But yes.
I had a customer years ago that had his car wash guy that washes his truck. After we coated it a month later, he decided to have it waxed, and they used a carnauba wax on it.
Yeah.
And he was mad because his truck wasn't beating water like it did when I coated it. Go figure.
Yep.
I told him not to wax it. So once I stripped off the carnauba, the coating performed great again.
Right.
Sometimes you're just slowing down the performance when you use a glaze or a carnauba because you're clogging up the coating. So when you remove it, sometimes it's going to work really well. So you can strip it off and it'll be fine.
Yep. Yes. And so, Bill, if this happens again, I know at this point you had already used the glaze, but if you have staining again, one good thing that I do if I get staining on a coating is I use Ultra Coat polish, because that's always the answer, and then paint prep it to remove any sealant that was in the Ultra Coat polish. And then I just, use Bead Maker or whatever, and it is totally great. So and then another tip is you could clay with the Bead Maker. That way you're kind of removing any contaminants that were left over and then applying the Bead Maker, and it's going to be great. So cool. And then Bill also says, Kyle, I really enjoyed picking your brain as well, and thanks for the compliment. Yes, Bill joined us at Hot Wax that day. That was
awesome. A lot of fun. Got to do that again. You have to take Sydney on tour all over, because that was a lot of fun.
That was fun. It was fun. I really enjoy getting out and talking to the detailers and stuff like that. And I've actually heard from several of them that I met. So that's awesome. Very cool.
I enjoyed when we showed up at Uber Detail and at Hot Wax, and there was like a line of mostly men, and a few women that wanted to meet Sydney. I thought it was so much fun. And it was a blast.
Was super fun. Yeah. So fun. So fun. I loved going to both places, and the, both Uni and Brian at Hot Wax. They're so awesome. Such great stores. Loved it. All right. We have any questions that we missed, or anybody have any other questions this morning? I'm trying to think of if there's been any other ones that have come up recently. I'm trying to think of what. Actually, I had one last night. Let me look it up because it was good. It's funny. It seems like everybody asks questions when they come up, and then they're already answered.
Yeah, we heard that a lot. There's a lot of people at those events that said, "Oh, we watch your Bead Maker and Coffee, and we have all these questions." So they asked us tons of questions there, but they weren't asking them here. And so we've been trying to take stock of questions that we get on social media. I had a guy the other day ask about using Bead Maker as a drying aid. He wanted to dilute it 50-50. Oh. And I just said, hey, as the vehicle's wet, go ahead and just give a fine mist to the entire panel. Take your favorite drying microfiber towel and just dry it. We're always going to recommend not diluting that. I don't think you're going to get great results. The water will dilute it itself. It'll dilute the Bead Maker as you're drying anyways. And you're going to get a little bit better protection that way. So for those of you that are trying to get all science on us, Dave has already done that for you. Just fill it up and use it. It will work great. That was one the question that really stood out to me, and there was a lot of questions from this person. You could tell he's an excited enthusiast trying to crack the code on something, but it was already, it works great as it is. Don't need to work harder.
Yeah. Yeah. So here was one, Kyle, that this was actually one that I know you've dealt with this recently. So I wanted to bring this up. So a gentleman reached out to me yesterday asking if he should use PNS Inspiration or Legend on an RV. And so I asked him a little bit more about the RV, and it was a 2016 and he was going to have to polish it and stuff. So I said Inspiration over Legend. And I just want you to expand on that and kind of what your opinion is, because you really deal with the RVs and you've had a lot of experience with Legend and RVs.
So Legend works great on brand new RVs, especially if they're fully painted. I just did a 45-foot RV a couple weeks ago with Anthony. He came out and helped, and we did Legend to it, and it worked great. And it works great on paint. What I found is Inspiration on gel coat, or sorry, a Legend on fiberglass coat works great, but on this different kind of fiberglass reinforced plastic that most of these RVs are made of now, Inspiration works better. I'd rather put 2 layers of Inspiration on this fiberglass RVs than try and put Legend on it. I think it's gonna be easier for you. You're gonna like it and enjoy it more. But on painted RVs, go for Legend. It'll work really well there. I'm just concerned because Legend is more of a higher solids, that it's not going to absorb into the substrate properly, and you're going to have some smudging because it's more of a plastic surface. Just like we don't recommend putting Legend on textured plastic on, like, mirrors and stuff. But Inspiration is our trim restorer. It's for plastic, works on paint, works on wheels. It gets great results on RVs like that. For that guy, he's going to need to fully reset the fiberglass. So I mean, he has to buff it, get all the oxidation off.
That's what I told him. I said his safest bet was to just polish and just do Inspiration, just because of the age of the vehicle. And then, I let him know too that it really depends on where that RV has been stored, how it's been cared for. There's so many different factors that go into that I said probably the safest bet is to just do Inspiration. And I said the same thing. If it was brand new, Legend will be great. But yeah. Cool. So Josh says Bead Maker's yeah, for sure. Bead Maker, Josh says Bead Maker is perfect and you never mess with perfection. I totally agree. I love Bead Maker. I love it the way it is. We always hear all these rumors out everywhere, and it's so funny. There's all the time about all the rumors about, Bead Maker being changed and new Bead Maker and stuff. And Bead Maker's great just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Okay, so Michael, I have Legend and I want to put it on some aircraft gear. I don't have a hanger to use, so working outside. Do you have any tips or advice against for any reason? Also, I'll see you on Saturday. Yay. It'll be awesome.
Oh, cool.
So aircraft gear. I'm not sure if he's talking about landing gear. That would, or just parts of the aircraft, maybe.
Parts of the aircraft. You want to make, so he's obviously in Oregon, right? Or Northwest area, if you're going to see him on Saturday.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with the temperature, and the humidity. If it's really cold out, you're going to maybe need to wait till midday, but you need to do it in the shade. So don't do it out in the sun. If it's aircraft landing gear, then you're obviously under the plane, so you should be in your own natural shade. I don't know the substrate right there. I don't know the material.
He said landing gear.
It's painted area, but I'm not sure what type of paint, or some of it is bare metal. So maybe this is maybe one we need to talk about a little bit more on the phone or through text. You can DM me and we can talk and figure out how it's going to work for you. I would say Inspiration works well on wheels. It works well on, you can put it on metal, raw metal. but I'm not sure how Legend's going to act on that aircraft. I have not done that. So I would never tell anyone something I haven't done and have a problem.
Yeah,
And I feel bad about
and my
that.
only thought here, I don't work on planes, so I don't really know. My only thought here is going to be that, with Legend, you always want to do that test spot to see how fast the product flashes. So the only thought in my mind is, again, inspiration, where it's an immediate wipe off. My only fear with working outside would be contaminants blowing in or things like that, or even, between the time that you get it washed and all of that. And so I think depending on the environment, inspiration could potentially be safer because it is a wipe on, immediate wipe off. Whereas with the Legend, if it is one of those surfaces that requires more like 30, 45 seconds, then you're kind of faced with possible contaminants blowing in during that process. So that's my only thought there, is just how quick the wipe off could be.
My initial thought about this is, on landing gear, you have bars, you have nuts, bolts, you have all these different angles. Some of them are what do you call that? There's little tight spots, and little crevices, like doing wheels, where inspiration is going to be your better and safer bet, because it's not going to like fully cure up. Because if you high spot Legend, it's going to be really hard to get it out of there. So I would use inspiration just to be safer and put a couple layers. I would stick with Legend on larger flat panels where it's easier to see, so you can do your work there. So if you're going to do, the paint on the aircraft versus the landing gear, I would say, Legend would be fine for you. But on landing gear, I would rather do multiple layers of inspiration. So that's just how it's coming out in my head, for safety and for best results.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Good morning, Scott Misha.
Thanks for joining us, Scott. Good to see you. Awesome. Michael says, Roger that. Thank you, guys. Anytime. Good luck with that.
Any more questions,
we will
hit us up on Instagram.
See you on Saturday. Yeah. Yep. And I know, like we found out last time, there's a lot of people that listen to Bead Maker and Coffee later. And so always feel free to email us or DM us questions that you would like answered on the question during the Q&A, and then we can answer them that way too. So I know we heard from a lot of people that listen later that can't join us live just because of the hours, and that's totally fine. Just let us know that it's a question for Bead Maker and Answer, or Bead Maker and Coffee, and we will totally give you a shout out and answer your question live. No problem.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. That way we can talk about your question on here.
Yeah. Yep. Because we do get a lot of good questions over the weeks.
Yeah. That's so awesome. When's our next Bead Maker and Coffee gonna be?
So we will be 2 weeks from today. We only have I don't even want to know, but it's not very long before Christmas.
Is that the 12th?
We have this house in our neighborhood that every time you drive by, it tells you how many days are till Christmas, and it's really quite disturbing. So we are at the
Monday the 13th.
It's scary, the 13th. So literally we only have one more before Christmas. So yep. So Monday the 13th, we will be back, and we'll be answering questions and answers, and we'll see what kind of fun stuff
that'll be our last Bead Maker and Coffee of the year.
Nope, we'll have one on Monday the 27th, which is my birthday. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yep. Ooh, it's my birthday. That'll be fun.
Okay.
I'll wear a party hat.
Out in the desert for that one. That'll be perfect.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you let us know if you have any questions. Make sure you watch for all the sales this week. I know there's a ton of, today is obviously officially Cyber Monday. So make sure you check your email. I'm sure if you guys are like me, you have 1,000 emails at 6:30 every morning over these sale days. So have fun with that. Let us know if you found any crazy good deals, and we'll make sure to share them. And Scott Misha wants to give a shout out and say thanks to PNS for Operation Slay Shine. I haven't drank all my coffee yet this morning. Yes, that is an awesome program that Scott does, and it happens all over the country as a couple different sites that do the Operation Sleigh Shine too. So if you don't know what that is, check it out. It's awesome.
For a military or service member,
Yep.
Which
So
was a lot
awesome.
of fun. We did that last year.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, guys.
All right. All right. Well, everybody in the Pacific Northwest, I will see you on Saturday, and you guys have an awesome couple weeks, and we will be back here in 2 weeks.
Bye.